Hello everyone, it's Christine here and I'm back for our Dictionary of Stitches and our stitch along, and we are continuing with satin stitch and we're going to do padded satin stitch and create a padded berry. So I've drawn myself, you might not be able to see it because I've used the blue friction marker on blue fabric, a little sort of like cherry shape with a little stem, and I'm going to just stitch around my cherry shape with split stitch. So I hope you're having a great day or a great evening. Saturday night here. Alex has actually gone off for an early night with Trav the dog. They've both gone off to have a snooze. We did have a busy day in the garden today, so I think he continued on doing more whippersnippering and all sorts of things. So I think he's feeling a bit weary, but I thought I'll stick around for the 10 o'clock the time here for the Stitch Along premiere chat with the lovely ladies that join. So I thought I'll just film a video before I do that. So with the split stitch, which is traditionally used as the outline for satin stitch, you're just popping up in the middle of the previous stitch. Almost looks like a chain stitch with this thicker thread. So with the padded stitch, we're just going to be doing satin stitches to pad it out, but you can actually use a variety of different stitches to kind of create the texture and the lift in the center of your piece. It says you can use chain stitch or seed stitch, etc. Just get this all the way around. So this really just creates your border, your edge that you'll be stitching to the just to the outside of when you're laying down your satin stitches. In this case, when you're laying down your final layer of them, because you'll be doing some satin stitches in the center to pad it out. Okay, take this one around to there. Okay, I'm just going to continue on with the same thread. So I'm going to start by laying down 4 satin stitches in the center, running vertically. I have to think for a moment, which direction is that vertical? As you can see, mine aren't perfectly even, but that's not going to matter because we're going to be laying some more stitches over the top of these ones. So now we're going to lay some stitches horizontally across just outside of where we laid these ones down. Almost pulled my thread out. It's just before I came on to do this video, watching a lovely video from Stitch with Rachel of a visit to a quilt show at Malvern Quilt Show, but in the UK. We have a Malvern here in Melbourne, but it's a different one. So now I'm going to do another layer of vertical satin stitches laying over the top, so again extending out that little bit further. So in the book they just do the 3 layers, but I'm thinking I might even go another 2 more layers just to give a really nice padded effect. Main thing is that for your final layer you want to do the opposite, you want your stitches to be laying either horizontal if you're going to be doing vertical for the final layer, or vertical if you're going to be doing horizontal for the final layer. So in the book they've done horizontal for the final layer, so I'll need to do one last layer of vertical before I do the final layer. I hope that makes sense. So I'll make this my final inner padding, and then we'll go on and do the final layer. It's getting beautifully built up. I think it does help because this is a thicker thread as well. Just put a couple more stitches in. Now that it's bigger, you tend to probably need more than the 4 stitches that you started with. So I think I'll just tie that off because I think I'm almost getting to the point that I won't have enough thread to do the final layer. Tie that off, put it in my jar. Get some more of my thread. Now I think I want the quite cherry colour, so I'll get it from there, take the pinky end off and save that for another time. So I hope you've enjoyed doing these different variations of satin stitch. So I've just got a minky end on it. I'll just snip that off. Try threading again. It's better. Put a knot in the other end. And tomorrow we're going to head on to scroll stitch and then seed stitch, which will be familiar to most, I think. And so we're going to pop up at the halfway point. And then we're going to do our satin stitch across. So you're just coming just outside where your split stitch is laid. And just laying your parallel stitches down. Feel like I need one laid in between where I just did the last one, so there's nothing stopping you going back and adding another stitch if you think there's one just sort of missing a little bit. You can make it as padded as you want it to be. Just putting one across the top there. Maybe just one little one. I think that'll be fine to put a stem, and then I'm going to come down and I'll complete the bottom half of the shape. Again, getting that lovely padded effect, and I am just going to, because it's padded, I'm finding I just need to sometimes lay an extra stitch to sort of cover it, because the stitch is sort of moving on the surface and leaving a little gap. But that's fine. You have that option available to you. Just still think there's a slight little gap there, so I'm going to lay one more stitch across in there. And there'd be nothing stopping you either when you got back to the bottom. If you felt there was a stitch sort of missing, you can go back and add it if it looks like it needs it. This is definitely a stitch that's very sort of forgiving or very welcoming of the sort of the layering of stitches. But no, I love the raised effect. It's definitely working for creating that. So I just have to give an extra pull because my thread was doubled up on the surface probably. I'm just going to, this was a technique I learned in something else, that if you accidentally pull a little bit too hard, which I did, it's good just to loosen up your stitches with the eye end of your needle before you continue on. There we go. I think that's pretty good. I might just put one more little stitch in here. I don't know if you can see how well that sort of raises off the surface. So it's, yeah, fantastic. Just finish that off on the back. And then we can do a little cherry stem, I think. Lovely, really happy. In the book they actually put a little, they say to put a French knot near the centre, but I don't want to kind of put a French knot and pull it down. I love that it's raised up. So for our cherry stem, I'm just thinking, what colour are cherries? I'm just reaching into the threads next door to me. Maybe, yeah, we'll use a colour that's a bit more, yeah, I think I'll use this one. Sorry, I just bumped the camera stand. Just use all 6 strands of this regular embroidery floss. And I'll just do a stem coming up from the top. I might just do a split stitch for that, I think. Sorry, I might have gone off camera for a moment. Oops, and just knocked my red ball of thread off the desk. If you heard a clunk, that's what it was. I think that will be perfect as a little stem on our little cherry, and beautiful raised surface. Really pleased with that. Really lovely effect. So that's satin stitch. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, folks, and I will chat to you soon. Bye, everyone.